One of the things that we hope the blended learning would do is to change the culture of education so that Māori potential would be able to be nurtured and shine through. Now, that culture requires us to think about teaching and learning in a particular way. That requires us to have institutions or structures in place that support that to happen.
In reading some of the material in the initial units of the course, we were all like shocked and angry and surprised often. And I think it made us all feel quite strongly about wanting to effect a systemic change, you know. And then we kind of went through a bit of a journey about, you know, what was our agency to do that kind of change, and what could we do, what couldn't we do, what did we need help to achieve. So it led us on a bit of a journey of self-reflection and group reflection around what changes we could literally implement.
How are we going to create systems and structures in our institution that actually investigates critically how power is either reinforcing those beliefs, those understandings, or not?
You can see some of that decolonisation understanding coming through for quite a lot of the staff that have done this. There's a lot of individual staff doing really good things that we could harness more and go for that bigger collective change.
In a lecture theatre, it becomes more challenging because we often get such a small number of students that attend the class in person. Many of them choose to watch online or have other obligations that mean that they can't come physically to be in person. In the lab space, it's a lot different because labs tend to be much more well attended. They often are fairly mandatory actually, and often linked with assessments. And as well as them coming, the bench setup is very interactive. So you have groups of 4 that are facing each other, interacting with each other, and then my role really comes in creating interactive activities. So it's very much group work, we do discussion. Even if we're doing something where it's very much an independent sort of science experiment, I try as much as I can to kind of have them lean on each other, discuss their results with each other, report back to class. I feel like it's when you get that opportunity to have more interactive things happening that you can really start to build that sense of comfort and whakawhanaungatanga between the members of the class and myself as well.
I think also connecting to people's own backgrounds and interests so that they're starting from a point where they're not leaving their own culture at the gate.
So one of the things that I did in my courses is that I came up with a brand new assessment that included a specific Ako-based element in it, and I told the students what I was doing and why, and it enabled them to have an opportunity to teach me and themselves something, and me to both learn from and teach them. So I literally created a brand new assessment as a result of the program.
I've always had Māori readings and scholarship in the papers as relevant to the topic of the paper, and that was something we started quite a few years ago, making sure that it was part of the learning outcomes and that we were including aspects of Māori knowledge in the assignments. An example recently was a student who wanted to look at the land wars and their impact on well-being, not the war itself, but the impact on the land and the growing the crops and the health of the people. And I think feeling that I could now work with a student on a a touchy subject like that was complex, but having more confidence that I could say, look, it's not an area that I know a lot about, but I'm really interested in, and we could look at this together. And then me reading up about the particular war she was talking about so that we could have that conversation. So I think that was a change for me to feel that was okay to do. If the student wanted it, I wouldn't have proposed a topic like that, but feeling that, yes, okay, if that's what you'd like to look at, my roles to support you with that learning. So I think it had really helped move that paralysis, because I've been here quite a long time and there's been times when it was definitely a no, don't go there.
So within my ākonga, there was one other person who was also a senior lecturer like myself, and us two and a couple of other people within the department put together a letter that we emailed to our dean, where we asked for more action at the level of both student success outcomes for our Māori students, but also at the level of changes and programs and things that staff could be doing in order to both raise their consciousness and also assist them in making relationships in the community with iwi. As a direct result of that letter, we ended up establishing a committee, and it's called the Māori Student Success Committee. Our Māori students now get personalised emails from our Māori coordinator. And as part of the Student Success Committee, we, this year, established kind of like a welcome event during O Week that was bring your families as well, come, have some kai, meet some of your lecturers, and sort of try to set the standard at the very beginning of the course as well. So those are some of the things that we're doing.
What I've heard about is people that said, what can I do? And then what can we do? There's that cultural shift, the actual recognition that we as individuals have agency to make a difference. They can bring about the change in themselves. They can bring about the change of wanting to do things differently with their akonga. But actually, when you take that agency back into the institution, that's when you need power to actually change the structure. What we've seen is that both the culture and the structure need to work together to bring about a strong shift in the reform of any institution.